Michael, a quick turnaround after successfully navigating Wigan in the FA Cup, and you've got the reward, if you can call it that, of a away tie at Crystal Palace. It's a midweek game, and it's going to be difficult for fans to attend. But what are your thoughts on that draw?
Look, it's a tough game. I think when you get to this point in the competition, you've got to have a little bit of good fortune, which, ideally would have preferred another championship team or a team from the league below. But if you look at how well the teams from, particularly the non-league teams, acquitted themselves in the cup this weekend, it's been terrific. So I ideally would have preferred a home draw, but we haven't got that. But Palace are a very good side. Patrick Vieira has done a great job, and I think there's a big change in how they're playing from possibly how they played previously. So, but it's a game where us as a championship team have everything to gain. So we look forward to that when it comes around.
On to Swansea then, a game you need to win to keep up the momentum you've started with. You had a good win away there, but they've come back with a win against Blackburn, and although they played the last 20 minutes with 10 men and looked a bit tired, how do you see this game panning out?
Well, look, they're a team which is, I think they've a new manager, obviously, at the start of the season. There's a difference in their style of play. They're a team which is very, very focused on possession of the ball. Their possession statistics are consistently very high, so we're going to have to, take care of the ball ourselves, because if we don't, we struggle to get it back, and obviously we have to be very good without the ball. But we were very good without the ball down at Swansea and played very well and won the game. And the objective is obviously the same. I think they will be a little bit further developed possibly than they were earlier in the season. Russell wasn't long in the job, so you don't have a huge amount of time to impose your style of play and your thoughts on the players. And obviously they've signed some players that I think have added to their squad in that period as well. So it'll be a tough game. They had a really good result against Blackburn, who are obviously doing very well in the league. And but it's a game that we know that we're capable of winning, and a game that we know that to put ourselves back into the a playoff position, reckoning that we have to make sure that our home form is back to how it was earlier in the season.
Because you'll have looked at the stats, but teams seem to be able to hit them on the counter and do better when they've got less of the ball. But also, if you press them, they concede chances. You've now got the flexibility with the extra players and the competition for places that you can play a variety of systems. And obviously you'll have the luxury of, if you want to, bringing in the 3 players that were cup tied this week. Do you just look at this game in isolation, or do you look at it as well as having the tough game against Nottingham Forest at the weekend?
I think a bit of both, to be honest. We have to be mindful of the players that we've just brought into the club and have played. And the worst thing we can do is lose a player by overextending them too early, in the period that they've been at the club. So we just have to take those things into consideration. But the important thing is that we don't feel, if we make changes based on that it weakens us as a team. And some players are better suited to other games than some games than others. So the team that we'll pick tomorrow, I think, will be able to give Swansea problems, but also we'll have to be adept at winning the ball back as well.
And after Saturday, have you got any injuries or knocks to tell us about?
No, everyone came through Saturday well, which was good. We're pleased that Josh and Liam in particular, because it was their first game for the club, and asking Liam to play 90 minutes, he hadn't played I think since December, other than the one half of football for Jamaica. So thought he came through the game excellently. We just got to manage him a little bit, I was pleased with a lot of aspects of what we saw on Saturday.
Campbell came off with a bit of a problem with his back. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, it was just a little bit of a knock and stiffened up, but he's fine. Trained, recovered yesterday and trained today, so he'll be in consideration for tomorrow.
Well, there's 18 matches to go. You're 6 points off the top 6, and you've got to play most of the clubs around you and involved in the chase for the playoffs. Again, on Saturday, in my opinion, I'm sure you're going to disagree with me, Michael, that the second half you were much better than the first, and you created lots of chances. The team looks to be improving, but you've now got to start putting those chances away to turn the chances into victories, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we've created a lot of chances in games. If you look at the early part of the season, particularly at home, we were we're creating a lot of chances. I think what we did do on Saturday is we scored 2 excellent goals. If you look at, the nature of the goals, the play was, in both cases, was built from, in our defensive third right to the final third, and finished two very strong finishes from Josh and Jacob. I thought at times in the game on Saturday, in the first half, we gave the ball away a little bit cheaply, which meant that our, disrupted our rhythm a little bit. But the opposition, we limited them to very little attempts on goal. And so, yeah, look, I think it's a cup tie. We did what was required to win the game. Certainly towards the end of the game, we should have scored, if not 1 or 2 more goals, if not more, with the chances that we created. We players snatching at things a little bit in that situation, and players that maybe individually need a goal to get themselves and maybe haven't scored for a while themselves. So, yeah, it was a cup tie that we could have won more convincingly. But equally, the important thing is to win it. We see what happened to other teams at the weekend, and there was no games where teams coasted through. So I'll see the positive in that, Ange.
First of all, about the FA Cup draw. I mean, you did allude to the fact it's going to be a midweek game. It's to South London. Not easy for the fans, but can you assure them that those make the effort, and I'm sure thousands will, that you'll pick as strong a side as you can get and give it a proper go?
Of course, yeah. That's what we've done today. We're not in a position where we've played, left 10 players out. And I think we had to be, when I came to the club, we played Brentford in the FA Cup, and we did make a lot of changes, but we were in the bottom 3. So our agenda was to stay in the league, and we had to be mindful of that. But if you look at us in the in the cup competitions, last season we were in last 8 of the League Cup. We were beaten by Leicester in the third round of the FA Cup. They went on to win it. This year, I think obviously Brentford knocked us out in the last 16 of the League Cup again. So we were a narrow game. We picked a team that we thought we could win. So we've never treated any of the cup competitions anything other than trying to find a way to win it, and that'll be the case. We do have a really busy schedule now because we have, I think, a Barnsley game reorganised as well, or rearranged rather, for I think it's possibly the 8th of March, which means we've got a real glut of midweek games. And the key to that, in all honesty, is not so much about whether you rotate your team or what you're able to do. I think if you have that schedule and then you start to pick up a lot of injuries, then it becomes more difficult. So it's trying to keep your current squad as fit and healthy as possible, so that you're able to rotate a little bit, but obviously keep the quality and freshness in your team.
And finally, back on the league campaign, any championship seasons you've alluded to for all the teams, they're quite epic. There's going to be bumps in the road. But if there's one thing you're running out of with the situation of the league at the moment, are you running out a bit of wriggle room now that you need to start hitting it now?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think you can fall into an area in the league where you it can appear that you don't have a lot to play for, and you don't have a lot to lose. So, and that's something that you want to avoid. So, I think the games that we have ahead of us in the next few weeks will play a big part of, what category we fall into, to be honest. We certainly believe we've a lot to play for. We've seen teams who were below us for a long part of the league now above us. So we want to address that. And, our focus hasn't changed. We want to make sure that we push as hard as we can into giving ourselves a chance to have a top 6 position. And I think when we look at our squad at the minute, we have a lot of young players around our squad. I think in our 25-man squad, 50% of it is 23 and under. So we're not an old team. We have some experienced players in our ranks, but we have a lot of younger players as well. And, they're getting more battle hardened to the demands of the championship and what's required to try and get out of this league as well. But the important thing is that we continue to develop as a team. You look at teams that go up, the likes of a Brentford had, a lot of more near misses before they actually achieved the promotion. And you almost feel that they were better equipped because they've gone through that experience and they've stayed consistent with their approach. There's a lot of teams that are spending a lot more money in this league than we are to try and get up and get to that position. So we're just going to continue to work and build a team in the way we are, and as I say, have a strong second half to the season.